Hello, Samadan here, and welcome to another week of gold making. Slightly later than I had planned here. I wasn't hoping to get this done on Wednesday, but it's Friday now, and we're going to have a look at what gold I've been making over the last week, where I've been having some good profits, and what kind of progress I'm going to make over the next week, where I'm going with my streaming, YouTube, and all of that. So lots to cover today. So, first and foremost, let's have a look at our gold. We can look at this straight over here, as if you remember last week I reset everyone's gold amounts to 100,000 each. So very interestingly, now we can see how much gold each character has generated in the space of that week, well in this case sort of like 9 days. So Bridget, my engineer and jewel crafter, has 110,000, so 10,000 gold made over the course of the week, so not a huge amount really, looking at that. El Morte has been doing very well with blacksmithing, 37,000. We'll look into the details of each of these professions in a moment. And looking at Earthen at 29,000 there, that's leatherworking. Awakening is at 136,000, so 36,000 for alchemy. And Samadan is down to only 27,000, but that is because I reset the market on Sinful Revelation. I bought a whole load of them, about 30 enchants for about 1,100 each, and I managed to sell a few of them so far, but I've still got a few more to sell. The price is still high on that. We'll look at that in a bit more detail later. Plus I've had to invest in things like callous hides to restock on those. Then Samadan, my scribe, he has 24,000, so overall, each of the professions, now bear in mind Samadan has enchanting and tailoring, just sold a tenet of versatility, that's nice. So Samadan has 2 professions, well really 3 if you include cooking as well, but I haven't had any sales on cooking this week. So Awakening and so alchemy and blacksmithing are doing the best at the moment, 37,000 each on just those, closely followed by leatherworking there at 29,000. Samadan's done well with inscription at 24,000 and Samadan there at 27,000, although I would say he has made a fair amount of gold. More than that, it's just we've reinvested it. So we're looking at a total of 1.4 million gold at the moment. So up here, if we look at that's the last month, the last week, it's been fairly steady over the past half of the week. But back here, if we look at this more kind of over the month, it's been more kind of down this kind of level where we've invested a little bit more and then reinvested and got some money back here. So we're doing really well. We're 1.47, nearly 1.5 million gold in total. So we're getting close to that part where I was hoping for before Shadowlands. So this is my pre-Shadowlands figure of 1.7 million. We're getting very close to that now. So that's a nice zero gold figure, but with the potential of making a lot more gold with the professions all filled out. So if we look at if we reset this and go to the last week, so my big expenditure here was callous hide, you can see that down here. My profit, best one so far, is Sinful Revelation, so I've sold a fair few of those. We'll look into the details of those in the ledger. Best seller so far, Spectral Flask of Power, so alchemy is doing well. Total gold earned, it's 346, so total profit 102,000 according to TSM for the last week. So really happy with that. What I need to have a look at next is I'll just have a look at the mailbox, because I'm sure there's a few more sales. Yes, here we go. Shaded Harding, Fortified Speed, some more enchanted Elysium bars and rich purple silk shirts there. So I'll collect up all of that. That gives me 138,000 here, which means Samadan is now up actually into the lead at 38,000 in terms of gold for the week, roughly. Obviously the other characters might have some sales since I worked on this afternoon. So overall, each of the professions are doing relatively well. Jewel crafting, not so much. Jewel crafting and engineering work well when I get a good mount sale, like a panther sale or a sky golem sale. Let's have a look over. Actually, if we look at this in the ledger, that'll be easier, same as we did last week. So we'll go to revenue, we'll just look at auctions, we'll look at just the last 7 days, and we'll look at just Samadan here. and order this by items. That way we can see we have a fair few sales, deep sea bags, a bit of old world food, baked potato, bear tartare, and some varied enchants here, earth and vitality, glorious stats. What are the good sellers here? Binding, enchant cloak, binding of intellect, 5,000 there. Quite a few fortified avoidance there. Eternal strength did well at 1,000. 1,500 for mark of the hidden satyr, so a good depth to enchanting, that always does me well. Now what I wanted to look at here, sinful revelation. We have, what have we got, 6 sales here and 1 sale there, so each at an average of just about 2,000 gold. Looking at that, and I bought all of these for an average price of 1,100. You can see there 29 purchased for 1,112. So I reset the market, and since reset day on Wednesday we've had a few sales come through. If I monitor this market a little bit more, I might get a few more sales. Fairly contested though, so I'd have to stay on there for quite a while. But looking at that, that's starting to pay itself back in the gold I invested on that side of things. Hopefully the price will stay solid for a while. The price of eternal crystals is dropping, so I'll have to keep an eye on that as well. Then we've got light step hoof plates still doing very well. Netherweave bags, just all the bags, shrouded cloth bag. And again, our tailoring novice crafters marks, all doing well with a markup here of 1,000 gold. Not a huge number, but a few bits and pieces, and some of the older just base items as well. So all in all, I think Samadan's doing pretty well in a good mix of tailoring and enchanting. Looking at alchemy, we're getting a lot of potions of phantom fire. That seems to be one of my better sellers at the moment. I managed to sell quite a few of those, so I've changed my restock amount on those to 100, and they do often quite sell for a reasonable amount, all depending obviously on the herb prices. So alchemy is a good steady seller at this point. And again, the marked up novice crafters marks here, all these ones with 1,000 gold are all the sales here over the last week, with a few extra bits and pieces in there with the burnished inscription bag and shadebound gauntlets. And the same with blacksmithing. Blacksmithing doing very well here, in fact. Ceremonious, Reaper, pauldrons, greaves, all with 1,000 markup on those. I have actually increased this to a maximum of 2,000 now. I noticed I've got some competition in my realm, and so what I'm doing now is matching what they've been using as their markup, which is about 2,000 gold. So I've matched their price, and hopefully I'll get a few more sales at an even higher price. It depends on how high you can push it. I mean, we look to be quite good here, 1,700, 1,600 for a lot of these, so it's in a good position right now. So blacksmithing doing very well, and then jewel crafting. Lots of small sellers, nothing huge, nothing massive in profits, but a reasonable number of sales of different bits and pieces, goblin glider kits for engineering. No big sort of mount sales, so no sky golem, still doing the Yard's peculiar energy sources for those, and I haven't sold any panthers as well. If I have a few more engineering mounts and things, then that would definitely be quite good at that point. So that's almost everyone. And then Samadan inscription, not doing too great here. The thing that did save inscription this week was I bought this Dark Moon deck. I bought all the cards individually off the auction house, and I set a manual price for this so that I would make sure I sold it for at least a profit of the price I bought the cards for. And it has eventually sold, so 13,000 for that one. I could look into this market a little bit more, get a few more decks on the go, have them manually coming through, just see if I can scoop up any bargains. And that could be an option in the future, just having a little shopping search for all the different cards and buy them below a certain amount, and then set a manual price for each of my decks. That could work as a gold making method. I don't know how frequently these will sell now, because they are item level 200, so that is quite reasonable at the moment for someone looking to increase their item level relatively easily. So overall, the expansion is looking to be in a good position right now in terms of gold making. We've got everything steadily moving through, all my professionals in a reasonable state. Still haven't got my Venari rep. I'm just 4 more bars left in order to get the cordial, so I can start trying the 168 gear. Haven't looked into the legendary market yet, because again, I don't really want to spend too much gold. I want to get my gold at least up to maybe a couple of million before I start looking at that again. But it's been an interesting week from a gold making point of view. So all in all, very happy with that. Hopefully people are getting similar sales on your servers. I know Shadowsong is kind of unique sometimes in its prices. Some people seem to be a bit surprised at the price of my realm, but I'm happy with it at the moment. The NA server's doing really well. If you watched my Let's Play series, I made a decent amount of gold just flipping materials on that side of things. So Lightbringer, more high populated server, is doing very well for me just on the flipping side of things. So there's lots of different gold making opportunities out there. It's just a question of spending the time, finding them and going from there. So then on a more personal note, obviously I've not been streaming on Twitch as much as I had of late. I've actually picked up some freelance work at the moment, which is really nice because it's I'm working on a trailer for a very well-known game, but that's all under NDA, so I can't talk about that. But my attention has been diverted somewhat elsewhere, and I've not quite had the energy. I think it's also part of the time of the year as well. Seems to be a lot of people seem to be getting all strung out with everything with lockdown, and streaming does take its toll. So I hope you understand that I've not been streaming quite as much as I would normally. I'll work out the logistics of that in the future once things have settled down a little bit more. I'll keep on with my YouTube content, so we'll have these weekly summaries, we'll have the Let's Play series, and we'll carry on with those, and I'll add in more other videos to go along with those. Big massive thank you to everyone who supported me both here on YouTube, Twitch and Patreon. Patreon is by far the most efficient way of us being able to support each other, so all those who have supported me on Patreon, thank you so much, and I hope I can repay your kind generosity by providing all my groups and operations as well as all my wallpapers and things like that as I develop them. So big thank you to everyone who supported me, and those that have supported me on Twitch obviously totally understand I've not been streaming as often at the moment. It's a balance between family, work and everything else, so thank you very much for all of your support. It really does mean the world to me, so thank you all for your support. It's been absolutely amazing. So I hope you've enjoyed this little rundown of the gold I've made this week. Looking forward to seeing what happens once I get into the item level 168 market. That's going to be another option there. So until next time, happy gold making, and I'll see you very soon.